What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. We're ranking NBA teams today. We're getting right into it. Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to go into the chip or bust category. I should have probably introduced you to the categories first. My bad. Up top, we got chip or bust. You know what that means. It's championship or bust. Realistically, that's what you're looking at, is a team that has cashed in all their assets. You know, they're not focusing on developing any more young guys. It is let's win now. They brought in people or pieces to help their star player, superstar. Not top tier. You could put that one together. It's basically a championship or bust team that I think just isn't quite there. Maybe they need more surrounding pieces, or maybe their stars aren't like upper echelon stars. You know, there's a couple of things that go into that. Too many flaws. That's pretty simple. It's a team that can't shoot well enough, or doesn't have enough spacing, or doesn't have enough rebounding ability. You know, there's some flaw in their roster. Just simply existing is a team that we all know has no chance at winning a title. Will probably be like a 500 floater, but we just look at it and we're like, okay, they just exist. They're 500 floaters. Young and fun, self-explanatory. A young team that doesn't really have many aspirations of winning the championship this year, but is very fun and will be an entertaining view. And then we have that one friend's old dog. If you guys ever watch Shane Gillis, you know that bit that he does where it's like, you know, everyone's got that one friend with the really old dog, and when you walk in and you see the dog, you're like, oh, hey, buddy, how you doing? And you're like, oh, God, fucking God. So, yeah, we jumped right into it with the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, you know, they're a contender. Dame. Who's starting at the two? I don't know, maybe Chris Middleton, Taurean Prince, Giannis, Brook. Big lineup. Love to see it. Malik Beasley was an absolute void defensively last year, and you replaced him with Taurean Prince, who is a capable defender. I also completely forgot they added Gary Trent Jr. That's like the perfect complementary piece, barring he can go back to being good defensively. If he becomes a gambler again like he was in Toronto, where it was just trying to jump every single passing lane and getting blown by because of that, you don't do it any good. But if he's back to being a really good man defender like he was in Portland, you got a game changer. And then, of course, Giannis is the game changer. You know, I said Gary Trent Jr. can be a game changer. No, you have a game wrecker already in Giannis, so that definitely helps. You know, Brooklyn Nets are going in young and fun. It's a team that you could argue won't be fun at all, and I can see that 100%. However, I get some entertainment value from looking at car crashes, and what I see in Brooklyn is a potential car crash. You know, they have some guys who I'm really interested in. Jalen Wilson. I'm really interested in Noah Clowney. I really like Noah Clowney a lot. Who's the other one? Dariq Whitehead. Like, they have some guys. Cam Thomas, of course, is going to be their offensive scoring leader, I'd predict. And then they have some guys that are probably going to get dumped at the deadline. Guys like Cam Johnson, guys like Bojan Bogdanovic, you know. But for the first half of the season, it's going to be Cam Thomas and a bunch of role players. This is Cam Thomas's team. It's a scary thought, but like I said, I like watching car crashes. The Knicks are a tough one because I could put them not top tier and say they don't really have a superstar. You know, Jalen Brunson is spectacular, but Jalen Brunson is not near Giannis. Jalen Brunson is not near Jokic. He's not Shea. You know, he's not one of the upper echelon stars, but he still is a star nonetheless. You know what? No. You know, I mentioned it in the beginning. It's about having pieces, and have you cashed in all your pieces. The Knicks haven't cashed in all their pieces, but, you know, they could still do some more complimentary around the bench moves. But in terms of cashing in, you traded Julius Randle and Dante in a pick, which probably will never convey. That pick is heavily protected. But you cashed in some of your assets, and you got Karl Anthony Towns. Now you have three actually all-star quality guys on your roster. You know, this is a championship season for the Knicks. Anything less than a conference finals is an absolute failure. You could even argue a finals appearance. Making the finals is the only way they can succeed in this. You know, you have two all-NBA caliber guys. Mikal Bridges was an all-star, you know, and then obviously OG. Mitch, if you end up keeping him, I think they're going to end up trading him or just dumping him somewhere. I have no idea. But they've pushed their chips to the middle of the table. They know what their roster's like, and this is what they're going into the season with. It is a top-line starting unit with Miles McBride, Cam Payne off the bench. Not a sexy bench at all. That's why I said they kept some of their chips, but we know they're going to make more moves. Toronto Raptors, where do I put them? Oh, man. Where are the Toronto Raptors going? You know what? They're going to go in just simply existing. Just because they don't have blue chip prospects that I'm looking at and I'm genuinely excited for. The guys who I'm excited for, we already know are like Scotty Barnes is their blue chip guy. That's their top guy. That's their guy for the future. They know that. And then also they traded for RJ Barrett, who had a really good second half revitalization with them. And I was really happy with the production they got from him. He was really good in the time he played there. However, like I said, they don't have a top line prospect that I'm looking at and going, yeah, that's the guy. Unless you mean like, what's his name? Jamal Sheed. I'm good. There's Grady Dick, if you really like Dick. I don't like Dick. So I don't know. I'm excited for RJ potentially getting a star J Barrett that was supposed to be coming out of Duke. You know, he was a really good prospect, and now he's back home in Canada. Maybe he's a little bit happier there. You know, and then Scotty Barnes, who's already amazing. Otherwise than that, it's just a lot of players who just exist. Why is the Utah Jazz logo mammoth sized? They're gonna go in that one friend's old dog. I don't like watching the Jazz. They're a mix of vets and young guys, and it doesn't seem like they know who wants to play when. You know, you have Bryce Sensabaugh, Taylor Hendricks, you know, Keontae George, but you also have like, you know, Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, Jordan Clarkson. It's like there's just a weird mix of vets. Lauri Markkanen's a top line all-star, but it's like, I don't know. If you ask me how many Utah Jazz games I'm going to watch this year, out of 82 games, I probably will catch like 10 to 15. It's going to be a team where I'll watch the stats, but I don't think I'm going to be watching much of the team, barring something big happen. I don't know. I don't think there's really a way that I'm going to be watching many Utah Jazz games this year. I'm sorry to the Mormon community. Houston Rockets are, I'm going to put them in too many flaws, all right? Their flaws are, though, is that they're just too young still. They have a right mix of vets and young guys that gives hope rather than the Utah Jazz. Like, their starting five is still the same as last year, but I'm so hopeful. Like, Freddie is very good, and you know what you're going to get out of Freddie. Inconsistent shooting, but he's a decent passer. Good just guy to have on the court in general. Good vet, you know, good presence on the court. He's a smart player. And then, obviously, after that, Jalen Green, question mark. I'll spell it out for you. You know, Dylan Brooks is what he is, a decent shooter at times, and then just a great defender. Jabari Smith Jr. is the one that I'm really excited for. I love Jabari Smith Jr., bro. I don't know what his future is going to be. I don't know what his ceiling is as a player, but what I do know is that I think he's a really good talent that's just underrated. Nobody talks about him, and he seems like he has a really good work ethic, mentality. You know, he asked that question to Tatum at All-Star break about what advice would you give to a young player who hasn't lived up to expectations after their first few years. You know, he seems like he has the right mentality of a guy who wants to be in the NBA for a while, and on top of that, he just does glue guy work. I'm gushing over Jabari Smith Jr. right now, but he's just good. And then on top of that, you have Al P, who's going to be getting an extension after the year, I'd assume. So he's in a contract year looking to ball out. You know, off the bench, Cam Whitmore, Aaron Holiday, Steven Adams is there. You know, this is a team that's really fun. Like I said, I think their flaw is that I don't know what their play style is going to be. Do they want to play fast? Are they a slow-paced team, a half-court team? Are they defensive-heavy? I really can't tell. New Orleans Pelicans, I'm putting in not top tier. All right. This is a team that realistically can go far in the playoffs. DeJounte Murray, I almost called him Jamal Murray. DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, Zion at the 5. ESPN doesn't have Zion as their 5, but they said that they're interested in running Zion at the 5, and I don't hate it. But the one thing I do dislike about this team is there's still just no center at all, barring you think Yves Missi or Daniel Tice can give you spot quality minutes at that. I'm not sure if they can. I haven't seen much Yves Missi enough to really believe it. And then Daniel Tice was my Boston Celtics starting center for a little while. It's not what you want. You know, he's a good backup big, but I don't know if Zion's body can survive full-time 5. I don't know. I like the thought of Zion at the 5, but can his body handle actually guarding a 5 for a full game? Probably not. You know, that's why you need somebody like Missi or Tice to be able to provide serviceable minutes, but they can't. I don't know if they can. The Lakers have too many flaws. It's the same. You know what? No. They're even going down a tier. You know, they're just existing. It's not an interesting team at all. It's the same team as last year, except they added Bronny, and they think Max Christie is going to step up. I don't get what they think. Who do they think Max Christie is, bro? Who do they think Max Christie is? I don't know. Moderately interest me, but this is not a team that I'm going to be locked in on, especially since ESPN is going to talk about them every other day with LeBron and Bronny. So, you know, I won't even have to check in. ESPN posts about them every day for me. But this is just not a sexy team. I like watching LeBron. You know, he's 40 and still Houdini with the ball. He's spectacular. And then Anthony Davis is my favorite Kentucky player of all time. So, like, there's players, I like the individual players on there, but as a team component, JJ Redick is a head coach now. What is that? Why did they do that? I don't know. The Lakers just exist and make me mad. Second young and fun team is the Chicago Bulls. Now, what separates them from Utah? Let's be frank. They're both going to lose games. They're both probably going to be bad. As a matter of fact, all three of the teams down at the bottom are going to be terrible. But what the Bulls have that I'm excited for is a young stud, Kobe White, who can get buckets in bunches. Fast buckets in bunches from all different spots. Kobe White is a great scorer. Now let's talk about the complementary pieces. You got a guy like Josh Giddey next to him in the backcourt. Josh Giddey is a guy who, when Shea wasn't playing last year with OKC, Josh Giddey was putting up like 19, 7, and 7. That's really good production. You know, 19, 7, and 7 without Shea is good production. Can he hold that for a full season? I won't guarantee it. But what do I expect out of Josh Giddey? If Josh Giddey gave me 16, 6, and 7 or something like that, that's a really good productive season. Maybe if he can hit a jump shot or two, it'd be even better than that. The one thing that doesn't excite me about the Bulls is the center spot. Jalen Smith, interesting player, but Nikola Vucevic, oh dear God, brother, this guy stinks. I can't bear to watch that. By some grace of God, trade him to the Pelicans for nothing. You know, take Jose Alvarado and a second round pick or something. I don't know. Get rid of Vooch by any means necessary. He ruins the fun of the team. Minnesota Timberwolves are just not top tier. They're a team that's, I don't know how the hell. If you watch my trade video, you know I don't get it. I never will get it. I still think about it, and I think Glenn Taylor said he wouldn't sell to A-Rod and Mark Lore because they were going to cut payroll. And he was fearful and he didn't want to cut payroll. He wanted to maximize this core. Just for less than 6 months later, him to go out, cut payroll, and potentially severely long-term damage the core. Good job, Glenn. You're really killing it over there. Part of me hopes there's more trades coming for them, but I don't see where they could come from unless they trade Conley or a Gobert. But neither one of that's going to happen. They want to keep Gobert to hold down that defense, and I don't blame them. Gobert, of course, Defensive Player of the Year guy. You know, Ant-Man can get you places, but it just doesn't give me much optimism long term. This year, though, in terms of this year, I think they'll be a really good team. I mean, Julius Randle's still a really talented player, all-star, all-NBA in the past, but in the West, probably not going to happen. He's Julius Randle, man. It's not like he's some world beater, but he's definitely a good second star to have. They're going to be competitive as hell, and I like the toughness aspect with Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, because Julius Randle is, I don't want to call him a mental midget, but my God, when things aren't going well, things are not going well for him. And Anthony Edwards is a guy who I think can do a really good job of, like, leveling him, calming him down, and telling him, like, yo, shut the heck, stop talking to the refs, you know, get out of your own head. Am I even excited about the Portland Trailblazers? What am I about the Portland Trailblazers? I don't know. Scoot, Shaden, Anthony, Denny, Jeremy, Ayton, Rob, sure. Scoot Henderson's answer to what was the one thing that what the hell was the question? What's the thing that you learned the most in your rookie year? And he answered where the good food spots are or whatever the hell. What is he on? I don't know what that answer was. I don't know what that answer was. Why would you answer that? A question about what did you learn in your rookie year with, I learned where to get good food. Sick answer, dude. Maybe it was a joke that didn't land, but if it was a joke, stop joking. You had a terrible rookie season. No. But it's just, I don't know. That was a weird answer, and I didn't really enjoy it. But in terms of the team, like, Shaden Sharp is fun. You know, Denny Avdia I always talk about Denny Avdia as if he's some, you know, all-NBA talent. He's never even made an all-star game, and I sit here and talk about Denny Avdia like he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. Of course, I don't want to talk about Denny Avdia too much right now because his country of origins having a little bit of a time, to say the least, and that's all you're going to get out of me on that one as we talk about the Denver Nuggets, who are eek. Where do I put Denver? I'm putting them not top tier, bro. I don't think I can. You have an all-time talent in Jokic. You know, this is a tough one to talk about because are the Nuggets better than the Knicks? I don't know. In a 7-game series, I don't know. You know, I really like the Nuggets, but losing KCP, not a good move. And then saying you're going to just replace him with Christian Brown and P. Watt, bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them. I don't know. There's so many question marks with the Nuggets, but the one thing that is consistent is Nikola Jokic. If nobody else on the team shows up, Nikola Jokic will. Jamal Murray put on an absolute trashster class in the Olympics. Yeah, I'm going to start calling him trashster class or disaster class. Either one. It just was the opposite of a master class. He was horrible in the Olympics. What the hell was that? Watching Team Canada, he was horrible. Still got Michael Porter. You still got AG. You got Russ now. That's interesting. I think there's more moves that they could make, but I don't think they're gonna, which is scary. Yes, I found it. This one's from Hoops Wire. This isn't the original one. Does he cite? Yeah, Zach Lowe. Zach Lowe was talking about it and said that the Nuggets front office doesn't see eye to eye with Mike Malone. The front office wants to add more youth and build more youth talent, while Michael Malone's like, why? We have Nikola Jokic right there, and you're trying to tell me we got to develop Peyton Watson over him? I don't know. If the front office doesn't make moves, this team won't win a championship. I'll mark that one down. Thunder are chip or bust. They've shaken that youthful first time through the playoffs. They've seen the playoffs. They've seen everything now. Go do it. You know, your team got even better. Last season, they were like the 1 seed, 2 seed. They were a top seed, and they got better. How many more times can you say that a team that made not a conference finals run, was it? No, it wasn't a conference finals run, but how many teams can you say got better after being like a 1 seed? Not many, but they added Hartenstein, Caruso. They got deeper on the bench. I mean, OKC hasn't pushed all their chips into the center of the table and said we're going all in. However, they've basically made the moves necessary to go all in. Yeah, I'm still a little sick if you can't tell. Memphis Grizzlies just, I think they have too many flaws for me. They don't have length on the wing. It's Jaren. That's it. Santi, Conchar. No. Marcus Smart's not a wing. He's like 6'2". You know, he plays bigger. He's like 6'3", I'll say. But Marcus Smart is not a big wing. Desmond Bane is not a big wing. You know, Jaren Jackson Jr. isn't going to be guarding the KDs and LeBrons like that, surely. I don't know how their defense is going to work. I don't know how their team's going to work. I mean, I pulled up the team right here, as you could tell. And the bench just looks not good. Scottie Pippen Jr. back at point guard. Bane. Gigi's out. Gigi's done for the year, isn't he? And then Vince Williams. Vince Williams is cool, but you got Kennard and Conchar, LaRavia. They've given you good minutes. Oh, I forgot about Brandon Clark. That might help a little bit. We got to see how he comes back because he's coming off a big injury as well. But their bench seems really depleted. And although guys like I said, Conchar and Jake LaRavia have given them plus minutes in the past, I don't know. This West is just deep. And I don't think they have a full roster that can handle big wings, a big wing team. Like, hell, even the Lakers might give them trouble because they don't have a guy who can guard Bron. We'll talk about Dallas. Do I go chipper? I'm going to go chipper bust with Dallas Mavericks. You know, last year was a really big, you could say they pushed all their chips into the middle at midseason when they traded for Gafford. And when they got, who was the other one they had? Gafford and Derek Jones. But going into this next season, they brought in Klay Thompson for a big deal. A big deal. Big bag. Major bag. All right. So now, all right, I was talking about the Dallas Mavericks before my microphone cut off. But yeah, the Dallas Mavericks are in perfect position to be contenders at this current point. You know, you kept PJ Washington. You have Klay Thompson now. You still have Gafford Lively. Your bench still has Exum. Is Omax Prosper ever going to get PT? I don't know. I'd like to see it. Jaden Hardy had some good burn in the playoffs last year. So, you know, they got a lot of pieces now. And it seems like they're in a good spot to actually be real expected contenders this year. And I don't know if anybody else is calling this, but if nobody else has, I will. Luka Doncic for MVP this year. I think it's coming. San Antonio Spurs, they're young and fun. And by fun, I mean Wemby. You know, they brought in some competent role players around him, but it's mostly just Wemby. When you're watching the Spurs, you are watching for this 7'3" demigod, 7'4" demigod, who can do everything. But that's what Wemby is. We all know Wemby. Next team. Phoenix Suns are championship or bust in the sense where if nothing gets accomplished this year, they got to start shaking it up. You know, that big three of Beal, Booker, Durant, it's a fun big three. However, they didn't win anything at all last year. They actually got beat to a bloody pulp, horrendously bad. And so yeah, it's kind of in that realm where it's championship or bust, but not because they put all their investments in, but they did. They maxed out all their investments, and yeah, it's win now or kill it. Get rid of it. No more Suns. No more Big Three. Los Angeles Clippers, they have too many flaws for me. Their biggest flaw is the fact that their best player is now Kawhi, who is injured often. And their number 2 is James Harden, which isn't pretty. You know, it's 2024. James Harden's 35. I don't want to see him as a second option. Who was it from the Clippers that was talking about? Oh, it was Norm Powell, who was like, yeah, with PG out, we all get more shots now. He's not the savior. Okay, whatever, bro. You're not going to win anything. That's just kind of the... Sorry, Clippers fans, you're not going to win anything. Warriors just simply exist. They don't have a timeline. They have Steph Curry, but they also have, like, Wiggins and Draymond, but they also have Pods and Kuminga, Jackson Davis. Weird little timeline they got going on. And they won't commit to the youth movement or the vets. They kind of want both. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and this is not one of those circumstances where you can have your cake and eat it too. They got rid of Klay Thompson, and they replaced him with Bahamas Klay Thompson in Buddy Hield. That's great. Actually, didn't Klay Thompson play for Bahamas this year? So I can't even say that. But yeah, I think the Warriors are in a pretty bad spot right now, but I like to see that. Down goes the dynasty. Kill it forever. Detroit Pistons, get out of my face. They added Tobias Harris, and I'm supposed to be excited about that. No, not excited about Tobias Harris on this team. Not really a fan of how the roster is constructed. Although it's better than last year, I still won't be tapped in. Sacramento Kings have too many flaws, and by too many flaws, I mean they have one flaw. They have 3 all-star guys, Fox, DeRozan, Sabonis, none of which can shoot a 3 or space the floor very well at all. De'Aaron Fox, a mid-range worker. DeMar DeRozan's a mid-range worker. Domantas Sabonis doesn't even hit mid-ranges at a good enough clip. Spacing is going to be a big issue, especially if Sabonis can't shoot, bro. And I don't get how Sabonis can't shoot. I don't get how. I don't know. I get it's not his play style. He doesn't like taking jumpers, but he should be able to at least consistently hit a mid-range. Please, God. Guys like Kevin Huerter, Keon Ellis are going to be heavily relied upon to be good spacers. Kevin Huerter was not a good shooter last year. Keon Ellis is a shooter, you know, so I guess it's like, I don't know. There's not enough shooting on this team. Cleveland, they're going to go in too many flaws, and their biggest flaw is the fact that I don't think Mitchell and Garland can work as a backcourt. I still don't think that. I've been standing on that for last year, all of it, and I'm still staying on that side because they have yet to prove me wrong. Don't get me wrong, I like the tandem, but they have 4 players who are like all-star caliber almost. Evan Mobley's might as well be there. But let's be honest here, they work better when it's just Mitchell and Allen, or just Mitchell and Mobley, or just Garland and Allen, or just Garland and Mobley. When they're all 4 together, it doesn't seem to ever work, but I might have to give them benefit of the doubt this year just because J.B. Bickerstaff's gone, and now it's, Kenny Atkinson? Hey, man, Kenny Atkinson got a really good team out of that Brooklyn Nets squad them years ago, so, you know, maybe this team has a little bit more fun. Karis LeVert's back with them, so that's cool. I don't have much faith in the Cavs winning a title, but I do believe that they'll be a competent team at worst. Boston Celtics, it's championship or bust. Obviously, it's not as pressing coming off the championship, but your star players like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown has something to prove to Nike, to the Olympics, you know, specifically Grant Hill. You know, you didn't choose me for the Olympics, so. And then Tatum had one of the worst shooting performances from a star in a playoff bracket, you know, just a whole playoffs. So he needs to prove that he could shoot the damn ball. And then in the Olympics, he couldn't shoot either. So he has something to prove, you know. Get that jump shot back, please. Philadelphia, championship or bust. No more excuses, Philadelphia. Tired of hearing it. Team wasn't good enough last year. Okay, you invested and got Paul George. What now? What now? If they don't win a title, what now? You know, this is their year. If they lose in the second round, if they don't make the conference finals, bro, send Joel Embiid to the moon. All right, we're done with that. All right, this is a conference finals team or you failed. This is a finals team or you failed. That's just the black and white of it. You've added these pieces. You've fully pushed your chips to the middle of the table and said, we're going all in. Win now or you failed. Hornets, no. LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Mark Williams, Nick Richards, Vic Krejci. I'm good. Washington Wizards. Jordan Poole's not a point guard, bro. Give it to Bilal or Bub. One of the two. Stop with this Jordan Poole nonsense. Stop trying to develop him into something he's not. He's a 6-man bench scorer. That's it. stop with this point guard Jordan Poole nonsense. Just let Bub rock out, bro. Just let Bub Carrington do it. Why is Valanciunas there? I don't even know. Orlando Magic are not top of the line, and the reason I say they're not top of the line is simply because they don't have a point guard. They're running with Paolo and Franz as their playmakers. Suggs is like a 3-and-D guard. Cole Anthony is like a scoring guard. They don't have a specific passing guard, and that can work for them maybe if Paolo and Franz are good passers this year. However, Paolo's had his high turnover games in the playoffs. He had a ton of turnovers in that Cavs series, but he was still efficient shooting it, and Franz just couldn't shoot at all. So it's like, there's some flaws there. But they added KCP, who's good spacing. They didn't have that last year. Jonathan Isaac said he wants to play the 5. Sure, buddy. All right. But yeah, it's a good, well-built team. It's just they don't have a traditional point guard, and that's kind of my concern. But honestly, if Paolo and Franz can make it work and be good enough assist men, you won't need a traditional point guard. Miami Heat, they simply just exist. They did nothing to get better in the offseason. They added Khalil Ware. I've been pronouncing it Khalil Ware. Let me know if it's wrong, or I'll just wait for the first game. But it's either Khalil or Khalil Ware. Either way. They added him, who I'm really excited for. He can be a good 4. But otherwise than that, all right, you guys think of Heat culture, and you think of what? Probably like defensive stance, being in good shape, being like hoop-minded, basically. You basically have to be do-or-die basketball when you're part of Heat culture. And it's cool to have, don't get me wrong. But Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier are not Heat culture guys. Terry Rozier specifically is not a Heat culture guy. I look at him in the face and I don't see Heat culture at all. I see a flashy play style, a shot scorer who can make a ton, he can get buckets in bunches. But that's not Heat culture. Heat culture is get your ass down in that defensive stance, sit in the chair. He don't do that efficiently. Tyler Hero don't do that at all. So, I don't know, some of their guys in their starting lineup don't fit what I see a Heat team as. Also on top of that, they still rely on a lot of weird contributors. Contributions to come from guys who are undrafted free agents from, UMass Amherst. They got guys from Middle Tennessee. They're taking guys from all over the country and hoping that they can just plug and play them. And it works, don't get me wrong, but once the playoffs come, you need a star. And if Jimmy Butler's not there, it's over. I love Bam Adebayo. I didn't even mention him, but we love Bam around here. You guys know that. Indiana Pacers. I'm putting them in not top tier. Now, this is just a fun team. Do I think they can win the finals? Probably not. I'd err on the side of caution and say probably not. But what they can do is be the most fun team in basketball like they were last year, running up and down the court like madmen. Also, they have the ability to beat you in more than just a fast break. Last year at the midway point, before they traded for Siakam, it felt like the only way they could win is if they outran you. And now it doesn't feel like that. In the playoffs, especially against the Celtics, they had to play the half court. And they were able to with Pascal. That's something that they didn't have before they had P skills. Obviously, Pascal is not the best player in the world, but dude, in a half court setting, in a close game, Pascal can get you buckets. Atlanta Hawks. They just exist. They're going to be an 8 seed competitor. They're not a bad built team. It's just, what are you going to get out of Jalen Johnson as your second option? Or is it Bogdanovich? Take your pick. Either way, it's not a very, elite player as your second option. I like this team a lot better this year than I did at the start of last season, let me say. I'm not in love with this team, I'd say, but like I said, I just enjoy them, and I like the look of their roster better than I like the look of last year's roster for them, so that's good, I guess. What are you going to get at a Zachary Rizashea, I think it is pronounced. Probably got that right. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to get out of him. And then, Double O on the bench. Clint Capella's there. It's a decent team, but it's not really that good of a squad. They're an 8 seed at best. There's no more teams left, as you can tell. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, share, sub. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to catch the game. See you guys in the next one.